Yeah.
You're watching this show, so you're well aware it is time for Money, Power, Politics. Please pay attention to this story.
This is arguably the most important story of the week, maybe after, of course, the Cubans mogging a bunch of invaders.
A major shift. AI company,
Yesterday we covered the interesting contradiction, a discussion between an AI corporation creating weaponry for the United States military, disagreeing with the United States Department of War when it comes to how heavy-handed the integration of AI should be in the way that Americans wage war and also do particularly domestic surveillance. The AI corporation maybe is a means to wash their hands of potential future fallout, some fallout said very literally here, or alternatively because they wanted to create and sell subscription packages instead of sell a buy once, use forever product. Basically told the American Department of War, yo, I don't think we should use this technology to create killer drones, robots, machines, call them whatever you want, that can kill people without human oversight. The Department of War said, bet, go fuck yourself. We're not going to sign contracts with you. There's plenty of other AI corporations that might not have a particular problem with this. And because of what I explained yesterday, when it comes to basically selling weaponry, it is a monopsony, as funny as that term is, those exist, where it is not necessarily like you have only one potential client that you can sell to. So the seller does not have more power than the buyer. It's vice versa, because the buyer can define the way the particular, in this case, tech should be adjusted, or otherwise they will go to another seller. It looks like the AI giant Anthropic pussy the fuck out. Let's see the story.
might not be familiar with them. They're a behemoth. Anthropic has officially dropped its hallmark safety pledge. The pledge had included
I think they were just posturing to save their ass for later. High probability for that. I think a little bit of a higher probability is that they were testing the waters when it comes to creating a product that can generate as much revenue as possible versus something that can only be sold once, right?
Commitment to delaying AI development that might be dangerous. But today, the company said it would no longer do so if it believes a lack of significant lead over a competitor. It comes amid an escalating fight between Anthropic founder Dario Amodei and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth over how the Pentagon could use Anthropic's AI.
Okay, I'm going to lose my mind. Jesus fucking Christ. To translate into normal English, the Anthropic leadership literally said, we have ethical concerns, but if following through on those ethical concerns may lead to us losing our share in the market, we will abandon those ethical concerns. A more in-your-face example of why capitalism is literally going to end up killing us, why it is a literal death cult. A better example than this I cannot give you. I would not be able to invent if I wrote a very bad sci-fi movie. Holy shit. That's why I think this story is huge.
Technology. Anthropic said it would not allow the Pentagon to use its model for mass surveillance of Americans or the development of weapons that fire without human involvement. I'm just going to say this again. The government's basically saying we want to mass surveil the American people, or we would have attacks that are just totally automated. There's not even a human involved. But according to multiple reports, Hegseth gave Anthropic until this Friday to back down from those safeguards and allow the military complete, unrestrained access to the technology or face punishment from the administration. Just hours ago, Axios reported that the Pentagon has already taken the first step towards blacklisting Anthropic with a potential designation of a supply chain risk. That penalty is usually reserved for companies from foreign adversaries. This is extraordinary. I can't even believe I'm telling this. Our nightcap is...
Yeah, thank you for being a normal journalist and actually properly reacting to this story, which is absolutely fucking batshit insane. The profit motive is so suicidal that it is motivating us. It is motivating our corporate overlords into basically creating something that could even harm said corporate overlords. It's wild. Also, I think they're afraid of legal punishment because they might be afraid that this administration won't survive. That as well, of course. It's a two-fielder. They want to sell it as a subscription. Listen, if you allow it to be fully automated, you lose so much money on training personnel. Okay, you don't want a fully automated drone because you wanna sell subscriptions on how to fly the new iteration of the drone. If it is fully automated and does its job from now till the end of time, they will not come back and buy the new iPhone killer, right? The way you go and buy iPhone 16, iPhone 17, iPhone 18, they will not come and buy automated drone 77.
Still here. Okay, David, what is your take on this?
So Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, who has just carried out dozens of strikes of people in boats. They may have been trafficking drugs. So
Do you think in war with Iran or Cuba, Americans are going to use AI-driven guns? I don't know, but they have confirmed that partially what led to the very successful operation of kidnapping the Venezuelan president was thanks to quote-unquote AI-powered intelligence systems. Like they were able to know exactly where everybody is by integrating themselves in the Venezuelan infrastructure through these algorithms, particularly algorithms that Anthropic has developed. Polaris says we have been using automated systems to kill people for decades, admittedly not at scale. Like Polaris, you have actual military experience, so I will not sit here and lecture you, my friend, but we have not had systems that do not need a human confirmation before acting on a particular kill order. Now they are developing, basically, they're trying to develop an algorithm that will basically run itself, which will locate, target, analyze, and now even execute kill orders on potential domestic or foreign enemies. So that's pretty different than what we have.
U.S. war games.
This guy's a lunatic. Oh, I know that guy, but that guy is like low-key a fail son. That guy's low. Thank you, Dr. Sleepy Fist, for the 26 months. See, some motherfuckers here for 26 motherfucking months. Can't wait for you to get the new badge. Thank you very much, Dr. Slippy.
War games against Chinese invasion scenario in Taiwan. We run out of missiles in less than 8 days. 8 days of pain for China doesn't mean very much to a country that thinks in 100-year timelines. We build so few arms that we build really expensive, really exquisite things that take years to complete. We need to get back into more of a World War II mentality where we can build weapons faster than we can use them. Because now China has to think about day 8, day 80, day 800, day 8,000.
Of course, a guy that sells this shit is going to say that we need more firearms and more firearm technology that just sits in storage spaces instead of giving you basic health care.
Phones that are flying overhead that don't even have human
He just forgets that nukes exist.
beings in them. These boats are an imminent threat, and therefore this Defense Department has the right to kill more than 100 of these people in these boats. And he's basically saying, you have to give us this technology and we will use it for what we deem to be lawful activity. They've just
Or you're done.
Yes, but they consider lawful activity to be attacking men in boats who maybe have, rifles that can't even reach drones, that's a legal way.
Shout out to James from the internet. Everybody go follow our dear friend from the show that's also a fellow chatter. The only thing that kills a bad drone with a gun is a good drone with a gun. Ha!
That's a legal way of killing someone if they somehow represented a threat to the
get a shout out.
U.S. military.
Oh,
so it's frightening to me that he's saying, trust me to have killer robots, as you said, or mass surveillance.
Trust
And I'll
me,
declare
or I'm
it
going to put you out of business, essentially.
And what it is President Donald Trump declaring it lawful. The president declared that we're in a war with narco-trafficking organizations. And people in Congress, after not pushing back on the president for years on military force, are now saying, hang on a minute. But is the president himself unilaterally declaring we're at war with narco-traffickers and we can kill them at will?
This founder of Anthropic,
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's supposed to be a good guy.
he was at OpenAI, and
Yes, he's a good guy. He develops murder machines. Based guy, okay? We love our weapons manufacturers.
he left over concerns that the company was prioritizing speed over safety. And now this is where we are.
Do no evil. That was Google's when they came out 20 years ago. That was their mantra. Here's the thing. He is one of the good guys, right? And so let's see how this goes. But I think we'll look back in 20 years and we'll think this was a blip, because if we don't figure out how to use this technology in so many different ways, we are going to get smoked by whoever does. The Chinese are not.
Okay. Red Scare Part 785. Okay, you should be surveilled because China. You should be arrested because China. People should be deported because China. We should create literal terminators because China. We should create killer robots, self-driving, self-managing killer robots because China. Yes, we have reached the full lobotomy experience off old school Red Scare shit.
Debating these sorts of issues right now. And so when you think about it.
But Dan, the Chinese aren't debating these type of issues because they're A-OK surveilling the Chinese people.
I know, but the point is that we might find ourselves.
There you go. That is exactly the argument that the American State Department uses. That is exactly the argument they use before they take you out on the street and shoot you in the back of the head, you libbed out cow, okay? The reason Donald Trump is currently basically going around the anti-tariff legislation is because he is saying in China they don't have a legislative body that they don't have to follow. Why the fuck should we follow it? The reason the Department of War is saying, we should create automated killer drones is because, quote unquote, the enemy is not following through on those policies. Well, the so-called evil enemy that just wants to kill absolutely everyone has a police violence rate that is a speck of the dust inside of a speck of the dust when it compares to American police violence. Speck of the dust inside of a speck of a dust on a massive beach on a planet that is 100% beach when it comes to the number of people it has incarcerated. We are constantly looking at China and pointing at China as this big boogeyman and big enemy who, unless we become more quote-unquote authoritarian, we will be crushed by, while China is 100% less authoritarian than the United States of America. Under almost every definition and every statistic that one can look at, okay? But hey, I am happy for this. God bless. Let the Americans bury themselves in their own xenophobia, in their own shit. Let them sell out to blue MAGA or red MAGA or any sort of fucking MAGA, because that's better for the rest of us. Just feel bad for some of you Yanks over there that are going to have to eat human-made burgers or some shit, okay?
A-OK surveilling the Chinese people.
I know, but the point is.
And yes, fuck yeah, I went to China. I loved being surveilled by a working class society, and I loved police officers helping me go everywhere. Police officers who don't even have guns, by the way. Who half of the job is to make sure the streets are clean and that the people don't get lost, the tourists, etc., etc.
Is that we might find ourselves well behind the Chinese in 10 or 15 years from now, and the implications are going to be so massive.
I agree.
What are the implications? How are the implications going to be massive? What, you think the Chinese will invade you? The Chinese will invade America because they are technologically better.
Okay, sure.
I'm not defending what the ultimatum or anything
I
like
just
that.
think it's important
Thank you, Don't Follow Nikos. Thank you very much for the 11 months, my friend.
to pull back for a minute and say,
Thank you, 999, for some of the biddies.
like, our government is telling this tech company they're not being evil
Yeah, but
enough.
state capitalism, this has been going on for the last year. And so a lot of folks, I mean, listen, the markets keep chugging along. The S&P is at all-time high. I mean, no one really cares about any of this.
Well,
sadly, I mean, we care about it, I guess, right here.
But
no one cares until it all blows up.
Right, and I also just think, like, we've seen tech companies do really, really bad stuff pretending to be good. Here's a tech company that's trying to be good, and the government is like, no, we need you.
They're trying to be good. This company and OpenAI, they are wrecking balls right now. They are destroying so many industries. The software industry here in the U.S. that we have been a global leader in is getting absolutely destroyed. We're seeing it across many different industries right now. So the point is, this is a power that's too, I don't mean to sound like sci-fi or anything, like it's all coming. So we better figure out how to use it. We better figure out how to regulate it. And I think the point of this conversation is we're not doing that right now. So that's maybe where the focus has to be.
Are they figuring it out, or do they just want to surveil the American people?
And in the wrong hands.
Jesus, you fucking cretins. The surveillance part is not important. They're already surveilling the American people. The important part is automated killing machines. Jesus Christ.
Hands, Pablo. This is dangerous, dangerous technology.
Yeah, and look, Dario Amodei and Anthropic, like, I don't dispute that. By the way, Claude, among all of the LLMs, like, that seems to have really taken a lead in terms of just like, oh, wow, this is an interesting product for consumers to use to, you know, change various tasks that they're already doing. I get that. I'm not disputing that AI is useful in various key ways. The thing that I think is fascinating is that he has taken the position that is basically a longer view on what happens when Trump is out of office, right? So, like, I think about it weirdly, and I'll make the comparison here to bring us back to the Epstein stuff, to Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie's thinking to himself, at some point, this guy's not going to be in charge, and I want to be the person who said, I have a vision for how America should behave that transcends an obviously transactional and corrupt president. Dario Amodei is saying to himself as well, if everyone else is just going to transact right now, and I can be the AI company with the market efficiency of the longer view.
Only normal analysis here, okay? He's thinking with market logic appropriately, okay? This fucking CEO doesn't give a shit about killer robots. He's adjusting for subscription-based models and for non-MAGA governments in the future. That's it. And also washing his hands if when, you know, a drone on the loose blows up an American toddler or some shit.
Then that's a good place to be. And what Hegseth is calling him out on is, well, let's test it. Let's see if we can actually put pain points on you in the present such that you regret having the longer view. And if he folds, if Anthropic folds, I think that's dangerous both in terms of the lack of regulation. It's also dangerous because it shows that the quid pro quo transactionality of this administration will have conquered all of the major players in an industry that is incredibly vital, if only because our economy has decided to say it is. And so is there also a follow-up question? Are we entering too big to fail territory, right? Let's say even that the technology is good and it works. Okay, well, are we then just locked into it even if it turns out that the economics underneath it aren't what are promised? That would be my concern as well.
Dan?
Well, the economics right now, there's just a massive misallocation of resources. We've just kind of talked about the cost of compute, the cost of electricity, what the impact is going to be on consumers, but also businesses. And it really does have the potential to really, there was a blogger, somebody who put out this report the other day, and he was calling it ghost GDP. He means that the productivity is going to go so much higher for folks using this technology for companies, but it's going to allow them to fire millions of workers over the next 5 to 10 years or something like that. So,
ghost GDP, I mean the thing that already exists, where there is no direct correlation between GDP hikes and actual improvement of standards of living. And that's going to be exacerbated by a tool that allows executives to rely less and less on labor. Oh, holy shit. You know, I always find conversations about executives and AI, at least the way that they imagine AI, kind of funny, because it is not even in the interests of the executive class, which is, basically professional class traders that manage large capital in exchange for being allowed to partially own the enterprise that they are managing. They're gonna if the type of AI that they are pitching, okay, if the type of algorithmic thinking they're pitching actually comes to fruition, you will not need CEOs, okay? If you think Walmart is a private communist state, AI-run corporations are gonna make the future of corporations. They're gonna make Stalin look like a little boy. Okay, they're gonna optimize. They're gonna fucking state-run that shit on steroids. You think they will not optimize out of having a CEO that they have to pay 10, 20, 30 million dollars a year, 50 or 100 million dollars a year? Do executives think that their job is going to be safe if the type of algorithmic thinking they are pitching comes to fruition? You gotta be a fucking idiot, okay? Management's gonna be the first thing to go, including very expensive management. Dumb fucks. Like, everybody's a dumb fuck. I mean, Walmart does use central planning, though. Yeah, that's what I mean. Corporations will unironically keep telling us that central planning makes absolutely no sense when utilized on a statewide or even international level, but they love using central planning inside of their corporate structure. Imagine how much central planning they will be able to do when they can aggregate and analyze data at a far greater level than they can now. Which, of course, then leads to society-wide collapse, as we all know. We talked about this yesterday, on loop and on loop and on loop.
Again, when I think about the wrecking ball, as I just described, it's coming. Companies are scrambling, figuring out how to use this technology. In the near term, the politically uncouth thing to say is like, yes, we have this productivity gain. We're also going to be able to fire people. They're not going to do that it's just the politically like suicide sort of thing. So they're walking a fine line.
All right, new topic. Warner Bros.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. They are walking a tightrope. They are not openly stating that they want to replace labor because it doesn't get you votes or public support.
Brothers, Paramount.
There's one of my favorite things about the AI bubble in general, at least when it comes to this fictional pitch of what AI can become, is that they have somehow created such a good marketing campaign that almost everybody can look at AI and believe that everybody else is going to lose their job except them, which then leads them to support it. No matter what industry you are in, if you want to swallow the cope pill, if you want to swallow the, AI utilized by capitalists is going to be a fine thing. You will always find an argument for why your job will stay, but that annoying neighbor's job will disappear. Clown behavior.
Netflix. Tomorrow, Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos is headed to the White House. This is a day after Paramount CEO David Ellison was a guest of Lindsey Graham at the State of the Union. Where is this thing going?
No, we're good. I mean, look, there's a real, we have seen this again and again. Shows get canceled like Colbert in order to do mergers.
What is this pitch?
Like what we saw with Paramount.
What is this switch? Sorry, not pitch. This is crazy, man. I don't know why, but for some in my econs in government, they call essentially planned economy a command economy. I guess they're trying to make it seem so scary. They're commanding you. No, what? The government chooses your job for you. Yeah, absolutely, my friend. And they, but when corporate enterprises, almost all of them basically use a command economy, but without any democratization that socialists want to create inside of the corporate structure itself, then it's super based and it's super normal. It's one of the best like pro-socialist arguments of all time, which utilizes everybody's quote unquote love towards democracies, the idea of democracies. The pitch is as following. How many hours do you spend at work? 8. How many hours do you spend awake? 8. How many hours do you spend sleeping? 8. Okay, so 8, you sleep, you don't give a shit about anything as long as you got shelter. 8, you exist in society and you can vote on what kind of a society that should be. But 8 to 10 hours that you actually spend at work, you unironically live in a top-down, insane, hierarchical dictatorship. So if you really want to believe in democracy, apply the democracy, you should want to argue that you should have, democratic will and democratic ability to choose inside of those 8 to 10 hours at work as well. That works exceptionally well. And it is a good argument. It is inherently a socialist argument.
There's been quite a lot of this sort of trying to get regulatory favor by trying to make networks or programming that Donald Trump likes. I think this is the next chapter in this story. We'll stay tuned.
Where is this going, Pablo?
I think it's very funny that Lindsey Graham gets to be the cute girl at the party.